Good evening, friends. Meeting again in the session of Materia Medica, and we are discussing regarding the Nux Vomica. Actually, we have discussed only one paragraph from Allen's keynotes in yesterday's lecture because we have discussed cases in detail and my aspect of or my perspective looking towards the Nux Vomica in last session. Today, we'll go little bit further. But before that, again, I want to share one important case where I was stuck because the patient was telling me again and again, doctor, since last 15 to 20 days, I am having very severe pain in burning in my spine. So burning in spine was absolutely a different thing for me. So he was investigated, there was nothing found, and he was having a severe burning. And he used to say that it used to aggravate whenever I sleeps at night. So that fellow was young enough and there was no problem. But he says that whenever I starts getting pain and burning over there at night, I have to sit up to change the position. I could not change the position directly, and that's the thing. But actually, there was no stiffness, there was nothing to find it out. Clinical indications, nothing were there. Then I took the whole history. Let us see what happens with the patient. So I asked about him. He was the office worker and he used to work right from 8 in the morning till the 6 o'clock in the evening in a chair continuously. And he used to say that I could not wait, I could not rise up from my seat even for 5 minutes within that time. Only for lunch, I used to take break for 15 minutes. Otherwise, I don't have. Even I get the tea at on the table only, and that there is no time because there is a lot of work which I have to do. And then whole thing where he explained the many things that he had a constipation which was very typical with severe ironing for stool, unsatisfactory stool, or with acid peptic trouble. So I considered the patient is Nux, totally Nux. Why not to give the Nux vomica to this patient? And then just I checked it in the Borix Materia Medica, and in Borix Materia Medica, it was very specifically mentioned that there is a problem which gets aggravated at midnight. That is when the patient gets awake at midnight. That is the time for the Nux vomica to get awakened. And that time patient used to suffer a lot with severe burning in spine. And he told that typical modality that if he has to change the position, he has to wake up and then turn and then he can lie down. That was mentioned in the Borik, but we never read those things because we fix in our mind that Nux is the remedy for the GI tract affection or Nux is the remedy for the modern peoples or modern age. And there are certain fixed ideas which we used to keep it in our mind, and because of which we never read those particulars. Many times, these particulars, when we look towards them, we find they are there in the provings. So I have given him Nux vomica in repeated doses, 200 potency, and asked me to meet after 10 days. Instead of after coming for 10 days, after 3 4 days he returned back and he told doctor, what medicine you have given, it has stopped. Next day I was absolutely normal, and not only that burning has disappeared, but my pain has disappeared and I'm getting full night sleep, which I was not getting since long time. He was in a relaxed mood, and that was the state of a Nux which was covered because of it. So Nux is like that. If you get and catch that state of his disposition, and if you find it out right remedy in right potency, it works beautifully. And that fellow then recovered completely, and then he thanked me a lot. And every time thereafter, he becomes a fan of me. He never went to allopath anytime. He used to come to me for any minor element. So these are things which one should not forget regarding reading the Materia Medica. We are reading Allen's keynotes because to recollect how to recollect Materia Medica, yes, Allen is very good. But we should not miss the Borix Materia Medica. That's my suggestion to all of you that must go through the Borix Materia Medica so that you can learn all those lines which are very important mentioned at the particular level. So this with this suggestion, we'll again start with the Allen's notes, the second paragraph. We have discussed the first paragraph when where he has mentioned about the constitution. They are thin, irritable, careful, jealous persons with dark hair and bilious sanguine temperament. All those things we have discussed in length, disposed to be quarrelsome, spiteful, malicious, nervous, and melancholic. Now the second sentence, here we'll give maximum time because this is what we have to understand basically. Patient comes with this and we forget because we keep only fixed ideas about the remedy. Debauchers. Debauchers means vabhichari, means who are the drunkards, who are the smokers, who are the chain smokers, who are used to take the tobaccos, all those things. Debauchers. Debauchers of thin, irritable, nervous disposition. Again, that three dispositions, three tendencies, three temperaments which are there in this remedy. The first already we have discussed, the nervous and melancholic. Here also he mentions about that. Thin, irritable, and nervous. They are always so active on the tip of their nerves, very sensitive, very painful, prone to indigestion and hemorrhoids. So they are prone to indigestion and hemorrhoids. This is the very important thing one must not forget regarding the Nux Vomica. GI tract features, definitely, right from the mouth to the anus, everywhere the features are related with the Nux Vomica, and Nux Vomica is having the action. In bracket, whatever is there, that is already we have discussed that in comparison with the Nux constitution, this is persons with light hair and blue eyes, it is lobule and clatter. Nux is chiefly the successful with persons of an ardent character. Ardent means utsahi, full of zeal, full of enthusiasm. Nux is chiefly successful with persons of an ardent character, of an irritable, impatient temperament. They are quite irritable, quick to act, quick to fight, impatient. They cannot become patient. They cannot sit still. That is the problem. They cannot take a rest. 5 minutes rest is more than enough for them. Then they again starts finding it out, work and goes for work. That is very difficult with the Nux. Irritable and impatient temperament, disposed to anger, spite, and deception. They are angry. They becomes very easily angry. They angered when the things are not done according to their wish or things are not done in proper manner. Nux is a fastidious remedy. And if things are with their whatever the things are there which he has to do with his goal, then he is too much fastidious. And for that purpose, if anything happens over there, anything disturbs it, he becomes so angry. He becomes spiteful. Spiteful means kunshi. He wants to take the revenge and or deception. That is, deception means to to deceive others, फसवणं एखाद्याला. That this is the sentence from taken from Hahnemann, and this is the main cream of the Nux personality. Anxiety with irritability and inclination to commit suicide, but is afraid to die. See, anxiety is there marked with an irritability, very irritable, very suddenly gets disturbed and offended, fights very easily. Inclined to commit suicide, they want to suicide when they get frustrated, but they don't have that much of strength to commit a suicide because it is acute. That state is only acute for timing, it is not deep seated. That is temporarily. It is like an atrium sulfuricum, but atrium sulfuricum actually it is a psychotic. There is a fear. They don't have that capacity to do. Here it is acute, and that's why they don't go for it. In aurum, it is deep rooted, deep seated, and they never think they commit. That is the difference between these three remedies. Hypochondriac. What is hypochondriac? Hypochondriac means they feel that they are having some disease. That is hypochondriasis. Literary studious persons who are too much at home. So those persons who used to sit on the benches, sits on the table, chairs continuously, going on doing a lot of studying, doing a desktop work, doing a banking work, office work, and reading a lot. These are the persons who used to suffer from such types of disorders, who are too much at home. They never goes out. They are continuously in one place. Suffer from want of exercise. Want of exercise is very important. They never do exercise. They want to do exercise, but they cannot. What they say? I don't have time. They always explain there is no time. How when to find time, doctor? That is the problem with them. This is very typical with the nurse persons. They never have a time. Suffer from want of exercise with gastric, abdominal complaints and costiveness. Costiveness is constipation. So that is the GI troubles with a disturbed peristalsis and indigestion is very, very, very characteristic of the Nux Vomica. So, see, this is a whole state which has been mentioned in this paragraph. This is the state with which patient approaches you, especially in drunkards. Last is very important. This happens who used to crave for alcohol, more common. Nux are more alcoholic because they want alcohol as a stimulant. I have shared one case with you when I have taught the aurum metallicum. That fellow was having that tinge of nux. In between, intercurrently, I have utilized with the nux in that case because that fellow was so ambitious when he was young that he said that he worked on lathe machine for 72 hours consecutively, and what he was taking in between, he was taking alcohol continuously. That extreme was aurum, but acute state which has developed because of it was the nux. And this is very typical with the Nux personalities. They cannot stop cravings. Cravings for stimulants, cravings for alcohol, cravings for drugs, craving for smoking, cravings for tobacco. These are the things which are quite common with the Nux personalities. They always, always, always behind them. They try to control, but they cannot control. That is the problem with the Nux personalities. Now he turns towards the one more feature of the Nux Vomica, oversensitive, and it is given in bold. So when things are mentioned in bold, it has a lot of meaning. Oversensitiveness at all levels. You see what he mentions, oversensitive to external impressions. Anything happens around affects him. He's so sensitive and reacts to them. Oversensitive to noise. Noise, it is too much with the nerves. They cannot take the noise. Slightest noise affects them. They get irritated. That this is the reaction which happens over there. The person at a distance making a noise, they are so much disturbed because they are very sensitive. Here it is very close to the asaram and theridion. But in asaram and theridion, they are also too much sensitive to the noise. But that noise penetrates in asaram and theridion, and it creates a pathology, disturbed reactions. Here it is only anger which comes out, irritability which comes out. Oversensitiveness to the odors. They are very acute at the nose, very easily catch. Something is some stink is coming. They talks like this. They enters in your room, they immediately talk, something is wrong. They are oversensitive to the light. That is also one important thing. They want light over there. They never like a dark thing. They always like bright light. They are oversensitive to music. Yes, that is related with the Nux Moschata. They like music which is calm and quiet, but the noise which is because of music, if it is a Western type of music and where there is a big noise, they can't tolerate that type of noise. Oversensitive, trifling elements are unbearable, like chamomila. Triples means shullak. Very minor things, but they cannot take. They cannot like. They don't like. They immediately get disturbed. Immediately. They are very sensitive. That sensitivity lies over there. They react in an instantaneous manner. Something around them has changed and they irritate. Chamomila cries with such a thing. Nux vomica is similarly sensitive. Coffee is similarly sensitive. We have to understand this sensitivity of the remedy. If you are able to judge that sensitivity, then you reach to the right remedy because of that. So every remedy has its own characteristics, and those characteristics we have to grab, catch from the patient, which are there mentioned in the books, but we never understand them properly. When we start reading the Materia Medica again and again, then we get really, or then we acknowledge really exactly what is Nux Vomica. So I'm reading this remedy 1,000 times, and that makes me understanding of Nux Vomica. When I look to the patient, I catch. This happens when you read the things 1,000 times. That is the thing which you have to do. You have to work hard. So every sentence gives you something very typical. Oversensitive, every harmless word offend. That is the problem with the nurse. The next person, whatever he has said, they takes it on the bad part. That is the problem with the nurse. The next person never have any thought regarding it, but this fellow next person always takes in a bad way. They never tolerate. They feel that the person has said this because with that intention. Actually there is nothing bad, nothing wrong. It is so harmless, but they takes it in a bad way, and that is the problem with the nuts, like the Ignatia are also like that. Ignatia takes it in a different way, and they get brooding, they get sad, they become hysterical. Nux become irritable. Nux gets disturbed, and then statisagrialic state comes up. But they tries to suppress if the person is bigger one than them. But if the person is younger than them, then that fellow is finished. So next person never understand what to do in such with such patients. So this is what the nux is there. Persons who are very particular. See, this is what is the fastidious. But that particularness is related with his work, with his goal, with his mm, thoughts. That's what the particularness is there, fastidiousness is there. Persons who are very particular, careful. See, this is very important. They are careful. But regarding what careful? Again, regarding the goal, regarding the things what they want to do. But inclined to become easily excited and angered. So if something disturbing happens, finished. They become immediately excited, immediately angered. So they are very excitable personalities. Then they cannot keep still. The Nux who is lying down in bed 2 hours sleeping, no Nux Vomica, not at all. In daytime, they cannot take that much of sleep. Nux wants, but it is not possible for Nux to lie down and take the sleep. That is the problem with the Nux Vomica. They become easily excited and angered, irascible. Irascible म्हणजे तापट, शीघ्रकोपी, which who used to get angered very easily on very minute things. That is what is irascible personality. Nugs are very irascible. They react instantaneously and tenacious. That is another important thing. Tenacious means pertinacity. They used to do things continuously for longer time of duration. They never leaves the things immediately. That is very characteristic with the Nux Vomica. If they start doing anything, they goes on doing it unless and until they finish that. That is very typical with the Nux. Nux are very particular regarding their ambition, and they tries to finish that. They never leaves in between. By hook or crook, they manage everything but do it in a particular manner. That is the nux. That is the tenaciousness. We used to use this word tenacious regarding discharges, uh, or abnormal or normal discharges like calibichromicum, etc. That is also tenacious chikat, and tenacious mind is that is also chikati. That is another word which you can explain over there, and that they continuously do the things in long time. That is the tenaciousness of the Nux Vomica. See, this is the constitution, the physical and mental makeup of the person, Nux person, and which is mentioned right from the first sentence up to here. That is the complete Nux picture which he has made in front of your mind. We have to understand these things. If we are able to understand all those things, then it becomes rather simple. Yes, to find it out. Yes, this is Nux. You can catch whenever you are anywhere, you can catch this person, this is Nux, continuous, jealous, doing things and doing it in a particular manner, very, very fast, and he was very intelligent. That is another characteristic of the Nux. They are quite intelligent. So you can catch those things with Nux. Then they cannot walk slowly. They walk very fast. That is another Nux feature. They are hasty, hurried, and they have to do many things at a time. That's why they are quite hasty and hurried. Now he turns towards one important future that's what we'll understand, where causative factors of the Nux personalities, Nux symptomatology. The first important thing, bad effects of coffee. See, all stimulants, there is desire for it, but it aggravates. It creates problems. It creates the GI problems. Bad effects of coffee, bad effects of tobacco, bad effects of alcoholic stimulants. See, everything is desire for and it aggravates. That is the characteristic of Nux Vomica. Bad effects of highly spiced and seasoned food. That is the problem with Nux. They crave it by any means. They know that it will create a problem. They know next day they will going to suffer, but still they can control. So if they feel there is a spicy thing which is there in front of them, they try to finish it. That is the problem with Nux. Nux can't control their cravings. Bad effects of overeating. There is also one problem that they knows that the taste is always there with the first few mouthfuls or first mouthful you have a taste. Rest of the thing which you are just feeling, it is feeling. But they never understands it. They goes on, if it is there in front of them, unless and until they finishes it, they cannot stop. That is the problem. So overeating is always common. The overwork is also common, the overeating is also common. So anti-improved is another remedy where the bad effects of overeating which are there. See, these are the causative modalities in Nux disorders. Nux GI disorders are always because of all those causative modalities. So you have to, on one side you have to look for cause, another side the effect, and if both matches, it is Nux. So both things which you have to take into consideration. Bad effects of long continued mental overexertion. Long continued mental overexertion. What do they say? They say, I want rest, I want peace, I want, but they can't take. That is the problem. There is a continuous overexertion of mind, and they stretches themselves to do that. That is the big problem of nurse. You can't stop them. If you ask them to stop, take a rest for a day, not possible. They become ill because of that. They become diseased whenever they take the rest in such a manner. And that's why long continued more mental overexertion, bad effects of sedentary habits. That is the problem. And that's why the costiveness is there, indigestion is there, the fullness in abdomen is there, the gastritis is there. All those things are the rather the results of these sedentary habits. Bad effects of loss of sleep. Very, very, very important. And these problems, in the mind, the continuous business, continuous goal is there. So they sleeps early, but they wakes up at midnight, cannot get sleep for 3-4 hours, and early in the morning, slightest sleep they get, and when they wakes up, they are not at all fresh. That is the problem with nerves. There are 3 remedies which are mentioned over there, cocculus and colchicum. That is the directly a bad effects of night watching. They never get sleep. That is the problem with them. If they are awake whole night, the next day they suffer. That is because that is the colchicum. First remedy to be think of is colchicum. Second remedy, if they get the vertigo over there, they get nauseated feeling over there, they get dull over there, then another remedy is cocculus. Nitric acid, yes, nitric acid one of them, but nitric acid is very defecting remedy. It's long lasting problem is there, then nitric acid you can think. It is if it is an acute because of whole night person cannot sleep because there were cases and all those things and next day he suffer. First remedy is Nux Vomica, but if it is GI trouble, acid peptic trouble, but if it is not so and patient is dull, disturbed, then the colchicum one should think of in such types of cases. Bad effects of aromatic or patent medicine. Aromatic medicine means those which have a strong smell. They are very sensitive. If any patients who comes with lot of scent they have put on their clothes and they enter, next person what they say, they immediately this is the reaction with them. This is the problem. That deodorant, any patients who used to use deodorant, and if you are nuts, you get immediately sensitive. That is the very difficult with the nuts. Bad effects of aromatic and patent medicine. Bad effects of sitting on cold stones. That is another feature which you have to take into consideration because they are sensitive to cold, very easily gets affected to the cold, and especially in warm weather. Bad effects of sitting on cold stones, especially in warm weather. So during summer, if they sit on cold stones, they suffer. That is the problem. That sensitivity is there with the Natsumi. So these are the things which you have to find it out with the Nux personality. Bad effects, positive effects, and positive elements and the effects. And if you are able to match, then it is quite easily you can find it out. So we'll stop over here. We'll continue with Nux tomorrow again. I think 2 more lectures we'll need for the Nux. There was one question, difference between the nitric acid and Nux Vomica. Yes, Nux Vomica is the remedy where there is a problem because of the ineffectual urging for the stool. That is more common with the Nux Vomica. The constipation with ineffectual urging is there present with the Nux Vomica. Nitric acid, it is a remedy for basically for the fissure in ano or fistula in ano and hemorrhoids. But burning and specifically the pains which are very difficult, splinter like pains, that is very characteristic of the nitric acid. So nitric acid is a very deep acting remedy which has a capacity to heal the fissures, fistulas, and that's why it is a psychosyphilitic remedy. Nux is the remedy which acts acutely. If the patient comes in an acute state with the constipation, with acute hemorrhoidal problem because of some spicy food, he had that. The acute troubles you can treat with the Nux Vomica. The chronic, if it is chronic persistent, nitric acid is required if the pains matches. So you have to understand nitric acid as a personality. Here, it is not an acute state with which you can prescribe the nitric acid. Nitric acid you can prescribe only on the basis of detailed understanding of the case. Everything should match with the nitric acid. Then you can easily differentiate these two remedies. Okay. So I think we'll stop over here. Any queries are there? We can have a chat. Otherwise, we'll conclude. Any question? No more question. So we'll have tomorrow again session with the Nux. Nux is a big remedy which we have to understand in such a manner. And then you'll find that it is quite easy to prescribe Nux in day-to-day practice and you can repeat it. Section is 1 to 7 days. So you can repeat. How long can work be taken? I could not understand your question, Raju. How long can work be taken? I could not understand question. What it means? What exactly do you want to ask? Nux Vomica. Nux Vomica you can repeat depending upon the patient's complaint. You can repeat it for longer time of duration, and if it is insufficient, the complement, there are 3 complementaries for the Nux. From soric it is sulfur, from the In psychotic, it is Kalika. From the psychosyphilitic or tubercular, it is the sepia. Three complementaries are mentioned. So to complete the cure, you may require the help of these three remedies, depending upon the miasmatic focus of the individual. Okay, so that's all for today. Tomorrow we'll meet at the same time and in the evening with the philosophy session at 5:45. Thanks a lot. Good
Thank you,
night.
sir. Good